Hi, yesterday we talked about how we can get our customers to buy more when they do purchase with us. Today, let's explore some ideas around getting them to actually buy more frequently. When it comes to frequency of purchase, the main thing that we're trying to do over here is build recurring revenue. You still have the same amount of customers, they're still spending the same amount when they do buy with you, but how can you get them to come back over and over again? And one way to do it is to actually stay top of mind. The more a customer remembers you, the more they will spend with you, the less likely they will switch. And one way of doing that is to do something like how push operations did it. They actually explored not only how they did sales, but actually explored how they could change the actual product itself, or maybe even business strategy. So push operations, they're a Vancouver-based company. They provide accounting solutions for companies in the hospitality industry. And they noticed that accounting solutions is something that people only use once a year during the tax season. And they said, hey, how can we get our customers to think about us and use us more often? So they said, what about payroll? Payroll is something that happens on a bi-weekly basis or even on a monthly basis. So by switching to payroll, they actually found two things happen. So number one, they increase retention because now that people are using payroll, they are actually evaluating alternatives less frequently. Because when you use a solution less often, when you do need to use it, you think about what else could I use, right? If you're using something often, then it becomes kind of back of mind and you stop looking at other alternatives. So it improved retention. Number two, it actually increased overall revenue for their customer because when they were doing accounting, the customer only spends with them once a year. Now that it's payroll, customer is actually spending with them every single month, right? So sure, the customer is spending less, but overall lifetime value of the customer actually increased. So that's one thing you can explore, not only changing the way you do sales, but actually exploring your actual product itself. Another idea is think about how you can build a habit around how your customers use you. So when it comes to habit formation, there are four pieces. Number one, what is the trigger? What will get the customer to think about you? Number two, what's the action that they take? Number three, what is the reward that they gain? And then number four, what's the investment that comes out of it? So an example here is Instagram. So the trigger is you're bored. The action that you take is you open up the app. The reward that you get is you see someone else posting, you get entertained. Or you see someone commenting or liking your post, that's a positive feedback loop, right? And then you invest into it by posting more often on their platform. So think about how you can build this cycle, this habit cycle into your solution. Another idea is refills. So for example, maybe you have a product, but how can you get them to come back to you for other solutions? So for example, printer and the ink, right? You buy a printer, you have to come back to the same company to buy the ink refills over and over again. Loyalty programs are another idea. So loyalty programs come in many shapes and sizes, and they actually help increase frequency of transaction. They don't only help with the actual retention and lifetime value. So examples over here include, you've probably been to a restaurant and they give you a stamp card where you get 10 stamps, you get a free meal. And what happens here is when you get those stamps and you're anticipating that free meal that comes up, you actually go back to the restaurant over and over again rather than going to another restaurant. So that actually increases the frequency that you visit the same restaurant. Another idea that's similar to that is membership cards, where if you have a membership program, where if a customer spends with you, they accumulate points that can be put towards a reward or some credit towards the next purchase. That actually increases, number one, loyalty, but it also increases their frequency of usage for your actual solution. So explore some of these things. Other things you can do to build loyalty include focusing on customer service. This is something that is often overlooked, but customer service is great because number one, people tend to buy more from a company that they're already familiar with rather than going to a new company that they're unfamiliar with. And number two is when you actually build a good customer service team, you're actually investing to the relationship, and the customer likes you more. It's easier to sell to an existing customer rather than selling to a new customer, right? So another thing you can do around loyalty as well is explore how you can integrate more deeply into, number one, your customer's processes, or number two, your customer's technology stack. So with push operations that we talked about, now instead of just offering accounting, they're also offering payroll. So it integrates more into the process on how they treat their employees, but also their accounting software, QuickBooks, that kind of stuff, right? So the more you integrate, the harder it is, or the more tedious it is for them to switch to an alternative. So I hope those ideas have inspired some different things that you can do with your business. This is part 3 out of a 4-part series on how you can optimize and increase revenue. If you have missed some of the other sessions, you can look me up on YouTube. Just search my name, Chang, C-H-A-N-G, Chin, C-H-I-N, and Hing, H-I-N-G. You can look me up on YouTube and look at the playlist Daily Sales Tips. Again, if you have any questions, here's my email, chin@classynovel.com. I hope you enjoyed the session.